Let me just start by saying, awesome video. Of all the videos I've ever watched where people talked about Slovaj Zizek, honestly, yours was the best one I'd ever seen. And in fact, I had thought about doing a video on that book that Slovaj Zizek did, the introduction on contradiction and whatnot, but I wasn't really able to get all the ideas in my head straightforward at one time. But I have to say, honestly, your video on it, better than what I would have done. So mad props, bro. Part of going back to what you were saying about Mao's contributions, his major theoretical contribution was New Democracy, which, to those of you who don't know, was bridging the gap between feudalism and socialism. Previously, it was thought by many people, particularly Trotskyists, that you had to go through a period of capitalist development before you could go to socialism. However, Mao created the system of New Democracy where you could skip capitalism and go straight from feudalism to socialism. And it worked out very well. It did go into a socialist system quite quickly, and as fast as anybody else, and had developed it to a higher degree than I think anybody else did. And that was his major contribution in that sense. A lot of people say that it's outdated, you don't need it, but I would think that certainly right now with Nepal and whatever it is they may or may not be doing, or whatever their policy may or may not be, they could definitely use something like this. So I think it's still aptly valid, and I think it's still perfectly aptly valid in many of the countrysides in Asia, particularly in the Philippines, where it's way out from the city, and basically everything is basically run like a feudal society. What you were saying about politics coming from economics is absolutely true. In fact, Mao wasn't the last great Marxist to point this out. That was one of the big things Che advocated when he wrote on the budgetary finance system, was that the social relations between people spring from the economic relations in production, meaning the way we interact economically with our society and within production itself determines how we interact with each other as people. A very important point. Now, at one point, this was almost forgotten about. During the Second International, this point was almost lost. It was, however, thankfully, resurrected by Lenin. Also, great job of calling out Zizek on his own contradiction with the negation and the negation and whatnot, how he contradicted himself. Although I think it's kind of funny how he has this contradiction while speaking about contradiction. And I'm kind of wondering if maybe he did that on purpose, just as a little joke, but I'm not really sure. I'd be interested to hear what you thought about that. And I also think it's really important that anyone who did read Zizek's book on that should definitely, of the utmost importance, point out to Zizek that that book by Chang and Halliday, saying Mao killed, was it 20, 30, 45, 70, 100 million, whatever the number is this decade, whatever it is they're saying now, that was crap. In fact, he said right in the book, Mao's latest biography, if we are to believe it, and he actually wrote that, well, no, Zizek, you're actually not supposed to believe it. You're supposed to look at it, research, and decide if it's not true. Well, of course it's not true. You don't look at the sources, the deliberate twisting of statistics. I mean, I went to a pretty good effort dealing with the whole famine thing in my own Mao's Famine Debunk video. And just as an aside to my subscribers, I am going to be redoing that video, and I am going to be making it like 10 times better. But to just keep the point short and to the point, that was a very excellent video that you did on Zizek's work on practice and on contradiction. Honestly, you did it better than I would have, so respect to you. I hope you make more videos like that.